tell me why you're here in Boston.
I came to cover the beginning of the trial, Tsarnaev trial. There's a big interest in France for the trial because precisely, the question of terrorism and radicalization and homegrown terrorism.
So obviously this strikes a chord then. So
exactly.
Can you tell me a little bit about the publication that came under attack today?
Charlie Hebdo is a very specific type of new magazine because it was basically created in 1969, and it's a left, satiric, insolent, making fun of all kind of fanaticism type of newspaper. It's very unique, and the cartoonists there play a very important role. It's always trying to put some vinegar on the wound in order to address questions. It's insolent, it's funny, it can be shocking to some people, but it's free speech. And to give you an idea, in October they published a cartoon on the front page, which was a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad kneeling down and being hauled. He's getting ready to be beheaded by a jihadist from Islamic State, and the Prophet says, "Hey, you idiot! I'm the Prophet." And the guy from Islamic State answers, "Shut up, you infidel." So,
Provocative stuff.
Provocative stuff, yes. Yeah.
So this is not the first time that there's been violence against or
No,
attacks against this.
It's not. In 2011, the Charlie Hebdo published the caricatures, the cartoons from the Danish newspaper Jyllands-Posten, in solidarity with them, thinking that we have to step up and unite. We have to defend free speech, so we have to publish in order to show that there is no potential unique target if we all do it. In France, I think they were the only ones to publish actually the caricatures, and they were punished for that. There was a bomb actually blew off there, and after that they were put under police security, the guard, and they have been up to now, but it was not enough to prevent this attack, which was apparently sort of well organized in a way, because the two policemen who tried to protect the journalists were killed.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened, and first how you heard of what happened and what your initial reaction was.
Yeah, I heard that this morning when waking up. I saw immediately the news, and I was, I would say, on the one hand, shocked and very sad by the horror of this, attack on our country, because it's a real attack on our democracy. It's an attack on free speech. So as a journalist, I feel particularly concerned, and it's also an attack on Western values, on Europe, on the West. Our common, the values that we cherish, which are the values of freedom. And so for me it was a big shock, but at the same time I would say that it was not a surprise, because in France the situation has deteriorated. You've had for years now a radicalization of a part of the Muslim minority there. There is a very big Muslim community in France. It's about 10% of the population, and inside this population, which is totally, I would say, normal and living its life, there is an attempt by very specific radical forces to foment discord, to divide France, and to trigger tensions in order to capitalize on it. And there is an attempt to hijack actually the Muslim community on the part of these radicals, and also an attempt to destroy a sense of unity, and I think there has been a lot of worry because of that. You've had a lot of questions being raised, about what kind of where is the place of religion in French society? Because these questions had been answered in the past. France is a secular state, as you know, where the separation between politics and religion is very clear. And France as a republic was actually conceived to protect itself from the influence of the Catholic Church, which was huge in the past. And after the revolution, there was really an attempt to separate between the Catholic Church and government. And it's a very different, I would say, secularism from the US, where actually secular society, laicity is perceived as protection of religion from government, which is the opposite actually from what it is in France. So that's important. But now with this new Muslim minority, the question of religion has come back in a very strong manner in our country, and it's triggered a big debate. But this debate has been basically very much under the carpet because people are afraid of, accusations of being anti-Muslim or Islamophobia, and the media and the elites was very frightened of opening this debate. So this debate was actually happening in the society, but not in a appeased and open way. And I think I was listening this morning to the former editor-in-chief of Charlie Hebdo, who was on French radio, and he was crying because he lost all of his friends, and he was saying we journalists have failed to debate more openly about the question of fundamentalism in our society. We have to have this debate. We have to be brave. It's going to be very difficult because you could have some kind of unintended consequences, radicalization also of the rest of the French population. This is all very, very delicate, and we are entering really a time of testing for French society. It's very serious. I think there will really be a before this event and after.
Can you talk a little bit about the parallels that you might see, even though it's so early, between what we went through here in Boston, which you said is of great interest to people in France, and now what's happened there as we relive this through a trial as well?
I guess that there is the common disbelief. I think I can see that. I'm not in France now, but I talk to people there, and I see this kind of horror, and disbelief that something so brutal, so cruel, and so absurd in a way, sort of killing people for their pen, for what they do with their pen, for cartoons, could happen. And but at the same time, an awareness of the importance of what is happening. And I think it was the same in Boston. People felt it was an attack on their way of life, on something which was nearly a bit holy, like this Boston Marathon. And also the same questioning, I think, will occur in the coming days in France that you had about these two Chechen immigrants who apparently were integrated, welcome here, grew up here actually, and nevertheless went against their country of adoption. And I think that in France there is a huge questioning about how is it that we have nearly 1,000 of young French-born Muslims or turned Muslims who go radicalize and go to fight with the Islamic State in Syria. I mean, this is the highest number in Europe. It's in France. And so these are questions which are extremely painful and very worrying to many people. And what I hope is that the French find a strength to address these questions without any kind of radicalization, that they don't turn against Islam as a religion. We have to find some way to accommodate all together, the French Muslims and the society as a whole, and to find a way to preserve what are the principles of France for centuries, which is a free and democratic country.
So, final question: how has this event changed your plans for staying in Boston and covering the trial and
yeah, I have decided to go back earlier. I mean, I was trying to put together a bigger story on the victims. I actually talked to a couple of them and I wanted to have more, but I think I'm going back because the paper anyway is now, today for instance, there is no foreign pages in the paper. The whole paper is devoted to what happened, and so I have to be back and cover the way Washington and the White House and the State Department is going to react. The amount of support that we're going to see, from the U.S. And I was very pleased, I must say, by the way not only President Obama but maybe mostly Secretary Kerry talked to the French people in French. It was moving and soothing to see, his very sincere support and the fact that he said, we are with you, we are together in this fight, both against radical Islam, extremism, extremist Islam, and also to defend freedom, because we both cherish it.